and possibilities. And what happens is that when you do things like make sacrifice or you do certain rituals, what you're doing is that you're.
So, Kafar, basically, what it sounds like you was just saying, basically what we say here all the time. And you know, it's funny because we just been talking about that. And I've been telling people have gratitude for the things that you got. And if you
Yes,
don't, and if you do, then you will see your blessings expand. You know what I mean? Like, you
exactly.
know, like to use the word blessings, but that, you know, for layman terms, Western terminology, you will see it. Have gratitude for the spirit of the water. Have gratitude for that spirit of that tree outside. You see? So you just confirm what we've been saying. That's crazy. Wow. So now I want to, because you know, Baba knew we were talking about he was talking about the Camus. Um, Now you also said something that I always say, that the higher beings are watching us, and I
She say that
communicate.
all the time. Every time we get on here, she
Mm-hmm.
says that because they communicate with her,
They
and she says that.
right, they communicate with me. And the last message I think I got, and I don't know if I told you, and Baba knew, but the last message was, they told me to tell humankind. They said it's just like this, y'all. Tell humankind they need to get grounded back with nature. And they told me
Yes.
to tell humankind to take off their shoes, ground yourself, walk on the dirt, walk on the grass, walk in the water. So these beings are communicating me from the cosmos. And they said that we have disconnected ourselves from nature and that we need to come back and be connected back with nature.
And I think not only do I see that, but the fact that so many of us, especially melanated people, a lot of them like are saying, and the women mostly are saying that they can't eat meat. These kids are coming back; they don't like meat, and so I feel like, you know, our DNA is shifting to where we're gonna get connected anyway with the plants and raising our vibrations anyway because we're being forced to.
You know, that's a very interesting point because more and more people are starting to go back, literally back to their roots. I'm talking about going to the trees in the forest and chopping off a piece of root and chopping off some bark and discovering its medicinal and high vibrational qualities and taking a bath in that, taking a spiritual bath from the trees, the roots, and what you find in the woods. Recently, there's been more and more talk about forest bathing, right? And this is a Japanese phenomenon where people go into the forest and they sit amongst the trees or walk amongst the trees, right? And not too long ago, in fact, from time to time, I talk to the trees. You know, we can
I
communicate
talk to
with the
them all the
trees.
time. All the
Exactly.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all all right? Hey,
Yeah.
tree, how you doing? And if I
Exactly.
don't talk to them, they wait. They make sure they alert me and let me know. Hey, we see you. I
Mm-hmm.
always get that.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you know
Yes.
what else, Ptah, like the trees always talk to me and I always talk to them, but the other day we was at the park and the damn rock started talking to me. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yo, am I tripping? And
Yeah.
so I was like, I took a picture of the rock and I was like, and I told Nikki, I was like, baby, what do you see with this rock? And she was like, the rock is talking to you, telling you to take it home. And I was like, man, I knew it was telling me that, but I was like, maybe it's the trees that are talking to me. But it was
Mm-hmm.
just funny, you know. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like all of us are
Mm-hmm.
evolving.
Yes, the whole universe talks to us all the time. We just gotta
And I
tune
actually
in.
made a post about that today.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, the whole universe talks to us all the time. You know, we have to talk to everything because everything is communicating with us. It's just that we have allowed ourselves to be indoctrinated and we are going by what they call pragmatic. You got to go beyond what they call pragmatic because they have a limited understanding of things. They want to break everything down to their linear ideas of how science is supposed to
Yeah.
function. We want to get to the holistic sciences so that we can evolve. We got to expand outward, not just go up and down, you see? So,
That's right.
you know, so when we look at going back to Ifa and Orisha, you know, the Orishas are the Netaru of the Yoruba people, basically. They have done a lot, you know, there's been a lot of research in the West African spiritual systems as of late, as well as the Nile Valley civilizations. But the history books tell us that the majority of our ancestors were brought here via the slave trade. You know, so a lot of times there are people who want to detract from that and say, well, we don't want to focus on Africa. We just want to focus here. But like the brother had mentioned earlier, everything at one point in time was one thing. It just got shattered and scattered, and we think that these are different things. So therefore, we're having fights and arguments, not just with our Hebrew brothers, but we're having fights and arguments with brothers and sisters of different African traditions that are from practically the same area over which one is right, you know, because we got to just understand that a lot of these systems, you know, are intact, but they have to go through a lot of things to keep these systems solid, as well as colonization and colonialism.
Right.
So because of colonialism, a lot of these African systems that are in West Africa have been touched and tainted just a little bit. But a lot of the
Yeah.
real knowledge, you will find it is existing underground. When I went to New Orleans, a lot of people talk about a lot, you know, the people who practice voodoo down in New Orleans don't necessarily look like us anymore. But no, the tradition is still alive and well for us as far as the voodoo and everything else. That's still alive and well for us. We just got to listen to our ancestors, because our ancestors are calling us and waking us up. And a lot of us are having dreams about not just West African deities, but Cometian deities as well. And like
That's
I
right.
said earlier, I had the Ankh brought to me. I've had Anpu come to me. I've had Het Haru come to me. And she came in the form of a tree before I even understood that she was identified with the sycamore tree or in the olive tree and so forth. She came to me in a vision when I was a child. I didn't understand what any of this meant, but she announced herself as Het Haru, and she transformed herself into a tree. And the roots were struggling, and the tree was crying out, saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And now it makes sense, because what it is, because of our lack of cultivating the planet and us polluting the planet, we're causing the atmosphere to suffer, which in turn causes everything else on the planet to suffer. Like I say, we are supposed to be taking care of this planet, but we're also going through training, because we're not going to be allowed to elevate anywhere until we master ourselves and collectively able to work together and transforms this into the beautiful place that is meant to be. This is our test. Even Credo Mutua mentions that when he's talking, having
Yeah.
that interview with David Icke, that once
Mhm.
we show that we can basically bring harmony to this planet, the beings in the cosmos are going to come down and invite us into the galactic, basically the Galactic Federation, right? You know,
Yeah.
and I know it sounds like hoopla to a lot of people, but the bottom line is that the reason why these things sound like hoopla to us is because our mind has been so limited to only see things around us, so and not look at the possibilities where you can use your imagination, that has the same root word for
Right.
magic, to basically build and expand. Because if you can utilize your imagination, you can see. You can see. If you see it, you can create it. When you go into Lukumi, which is the Yorubas of Cuba, they call
Uh-huh.
this center right here Eleda. Eleda is one of the names of God, which means the creator. So if you can see it, you can create it. So we have to learn how to see, and we got to look beyond where we've been told to look. We have to use our imaginations so that spirit can work through us as we bring things to the earth. We need more. We need Nikola Teslas that look like us as well now. We need more and more of our people who have actually done things but haven't got the credit for because of patenting and all that stuff. We need
And that's
more
Right.
of
still
us.
right after my door.
Right.
Yeah,
Hold on, brother. Okay, Baba Talk. We have a question, and then we're gonna bring Baba back on to talk about the paradigm shift, and then I want you to talk about the paradigm shift. Okay. So
cool.
hold on. We have a question for you. Let me see. Hold on. They said how, and I answer this for my people all the time, but I'm gonna let you answer it because y'all the guests tonight. How do we connect with nature? And Baba knew you can answer that in the chat too until we bring you back on. After he answers this, we're going to bring you back on and talk about the paradigm shift. Go ahead, Kefra.
You know, that's a beautiful question. And the thing about it, you know, how do you connect with nature? Well, a lot of people say first thing they'll talk about is the diet, but I'm gonna tell you something even more simpler. Starting out is to go out, like Sister Nikki said earlier, take your shoes off and walk amongst the trees in the forest and meditate and go among those trees, because there's been medical studies and there's been studies saying that people who actually go into the forest, right? A lot of our women, they're anxious living in these cities because they're picking up on all this. But when they go out into the forest and like go for walks in the forest, like maybe 2 hours at sometimes 2 hours within a week, or actually every day, their anxiety decreases dramatically. Illness, sickness, and everything else decrease when you go out by the water, or you go out into the mountains, or you go out into the woods where you got more negative ions. The technology and everything around you is what's sucking these negative ions that you need out of the atmosphere. So you got to go around it. If there's no big forest, try to go around water. If you got to go on a trip to a place where there's trees and forests, go there because it's worth it. But you need to get out of these cities, not because technology is wrong, but the way they use it is out of sync with the harmony of nature. You need to go and talk to the trees and talk to the technology that the ancestors put on this planet. Because when you advance and when our species advance, when we terraform a planet, guess what we're going to be putting on that planet? Trees, foliage, vegetation. That's the technology of the ancients, because mammals need to breathe. So we got a perfect cycle, okay, of mammals, and we got vegetables. We help each other out. Plants and vegetables, plant and animal kingdom, we help each other out. That's how the system is designed and set up. So one of the things you can do by honoring the nature spirits is plant some trees. Get a relationship with plants. Okay?
Okay, we got another question. It's okay, so that's how you communicate. So how do you know when they're communicating back? That was a question in the chat.
It's a process. You will feel it, okay? Now they can come to you in dreams and all that, but they send out vibes and everything. Go to a tree at some point in time. If you're feeling ill or if you're feeling sick, they make fun of tree hugging, but I say do it. Hug that tree and ask that tree if you could take my illness and my sickness away. Hug that tree and lean against it and see how you feel. Just keep doing that for a while and see how you feel. The tree will respond, and you will feel an energy surge, or you might feel pain in your body. And that's the area that you want to concentrate on, and having the tree remove that, because we have a lot of hidden pain in us too. A lot of us are tired all the time. And one of the reasons why people are tired is because pain that you don't even remember being hurt. You might have hurt your back at some point in time. Okay. The tree and everything else in nature can have speed up the healing process, but you got to go within nature. And sometimes spirits in nature will come to you in dreams. They will talk to you. Let me tell you something what happened to me, okay? Now, I've also been initiated into the mysteries of Osine. I'm not even calling myself an expert in that. But I will say that after I had spoken with Osine and asked Osine to help build up my vitality, I was down in what they call Chinatown. Now they call it the International District in Seattle. I was looking for some fabric. But earlier in that week, I'd asked Osine to show me and give me the plant that will help boost my vitality. So I'm downtown over there in Chinatown, and I felt a force. It felt like it grabbed me by my ankles and moved me. And next thing you know, I feel myself being literally pulled. And I walked up the street, and around the corner, there's this martial arts studio. I went in the back, all the way in the back, and there's all these martial arts weapons. And in the back, the only thing I saw there that stood out to me, and that was Korean ginseng. I said, okay, what am I to do with this? The lady told me to take it and boil it and drink it. And I took it, I boiled it and drank it. It seemed like since I've been following these directions, I feel a whole lot better. Getting more magnesium. Sometimes you might want to take a bath in some Epsom salt. But get connected with the salts of the earth. It's cool. I mean, I'm not talking against visualization and all that, but it's going to take a little bit more than just visualizing. You need to go and connect with the actual earth. Get in some of the earth's soil, sit in it. If you got to dig a hole and chill in the earth, do so. But you got to connect with the soil. You got to connect with the spirit of the earth, because the way that you transcend the planet is becoming one with it. You got to become one with the deities. That's how you overcome. But how a lot of people haven't even mastered being human. They don't understand what it means, but they talking about they want to jump and skip to godhood. And I mean, I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just saying that a lot of people have not reached that level yet, and they're claiming it like it's the thing to do. So what I just say is, before you do that, try to make the connection with the creation.
That's
Okay, and
right. You know,
understand
I
it.
want to add this. I want to add lib of what you're saying, and then we're going to bring Baba Nu back in to talk about the paradigm shift, and then I want you to come back on. Now, let me just say this. The person who asked, I think it was Hermetic King, the most important thing is you got to learn how to quiet your mind. And see, when you're communicating with these trees and with the spirit of the water, the spirit of the trees, and the spirit of the earth, you have to listen very closely. And a lot of times you won't hear them because your mind is not expecting to hear them. What you need to do is when you connect with these elements, you have to listen with your mind so you can hear them, and you will hear them. But you got to clear your mind. Clear your mind out. Don't go out there with, well, I expected you to talk back to me. And see, the thing about it, you will hear them start talking to you. Quiet your mind. Don't think about nothing else but that tree. Don't think about nothing else but that water. You have to connect yourself by quieting your mind and focusing, using your power of concentration on that thing that you're dealing with, which is the tree, which is the water, which is with the earth. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's one of the things you want to do, and don't worry if you don't hear them right away. Okay, don't worry about if you don't hear them right away. The most important thing is connecting with them. The most important thing is connecting with them. You don't always have to hear them. They're not always going to talk to you. You see what I'm saying? But when you start out, the most important thing is grounding yourself with these elements. Okay. All right, Kepra, I want you to cut off. We're gonna bring you back on. We're gonna talk about the paradigm shift. We're gonna let Babalu talk about it. Let you talk about it. Then we'll be out of here, y'all. Okay.
Peace, hotel.
All right, Hotel. We'll be back. Okay. Babalu, get ready. We're gonna put you back on. Where'd it go? All right, Kepra, disconnect yours so we can bring Bob Banu back in.
All right, here I go. Boom.
All right, family, we're going to bring Bob Banu back on and talk about the paradigm shift. And then we'll bring Brother Kepra back in to talk about the paradigm